Hey there, A's Day fans. Welcome to our Thursday edition of our show. I'm your host, Joe Grado. I want to thank you all for stopping by and listening to our thoughts on everything athletics baseball. Today is Thursday, July 2nd. We've got a jam-packed show for you. We're going to start off today's show with the Dodgers series recap. Dodgers came into West Sacramento, took 2 out of 3. A's ended it off on a good note with a 7-1 victory yesterday. We're going to have a little bit different of a format of a recap. We're going to basically work our way through it a little bit quicker for this edition, since those first 2 games were rather disappointing before yesterday's avoidance of a 3-game sweep. We've got some housekeeping. Tyler Soderstrom and Jacob Wilson are on the injured list. Brent Rooker, it was announced yesterday he'll be undergoing surgery and set to miss the remainder of the season as we take a look deeper at these unfortunate injuries. Joshua Kuroda-Grauer, he made his MLB debut, contributing in a significant way throughout as we take a look at how his debut went and his opening series as well. The A's and Red Sox, they landed a trade as Brett Harris is going to the Red Sox. We'll discuss who the A's got in return. We will then, for the back half of our show, conduct our normal series preview as the A's will be welcoming in the Miami Marlins following today's off day starting tomorrow night for a 3-game set to conclude the homestand. And then we do have a little bit of a surprise for you, as A's Day is going to be headed down to AAA to Salt Lake City tonight as we head to cover the Las Vegas Aviators taking on the Salt Lake Bees tomorrow night at the Ballpark First Square of America in Utah, as we share the content you can expect to enjoy and when. Before we are wheels up to Salt Lake City, let's talk some A's baseball. Holy Toledo. Let's go A's. All right, there, A's Day fans. Thank you again for stopping by on this Thursday afternoon or whenever you're listening to this edition of A's Day. We appreciate all of your support. So, a bit of a shorter recap to kick things off, but we want to make sure we get to everything before we depart for SFO. Game 1 in the Dodgers series featured a matchup of Eric Lauer going up against A's left-hander Gage Jump. Shohei Ohtani homers to lead the Dodgers' offensive onslaught in this one to a 9-4 win over the A's. Ohtani hit a 3-run homer to support Lauer in his conventional return to the starting rotation as the Los Angeles Angels defeated the A's 9-4 on Monday night. Max Muncy and Andy Pages also homered and joined Ohtani in a group of 8 Dodgers with 2 hits apiece. Los Angeles manager Dave Roberts earned his 999th career victory. Lauer, 4-5, allowed 3 runs and 9 hits in 6 innings, 7 days after pitching 6 hitless innings of bulk relief and getting the win against Minnesota. The left-hander struck out 2 and walked 1 in his 6th appearance for the Dodgers and 5th start since they acquired him from Toronto for cash back on May 17th. Kyle Hertz set down all 3 hitters he faced in the 7th on swinging strikeouts. Jonathan Hernandez retired 4 batters, and Jack Dreyer got the final 2 outs in the 9th. Colby Thomas homered for the A's, who have lost 7 of 9 to this point. The game was played before a sold-out crowd at the A's home of Sutter Health Park. Most fans were clad in blue and white and repeatedly cheered loudly for the MLB-leading Los Angeles Dodgers. Ohtani's 18th home run this season off reliever Matt Crook in the 6th landed on the grass hill behind the bullpens and drew the loudest applause. Max Muncy, now the Dodgers' Max Muncy, he hit his 17th home run off A's starter Gage Jump in the 4th. Miguel Rojas followed with a double before Pages hit his 16th homer 3 batters later to make it 5-3. The A's led 3-2 in the 2nd following Thomas's home run and 3 consecutive singles, including Joshua Kuroda-Grauer's first career hit. Kuroda-Grauer later singled and doubled to finish with 3 hits. Jump, 3-2 now in the year, allowed 5 runs and 11 hits in 4 2/3 innings. So this was the first speed bump, no pun intended, for Gage Jump, where this was the deepest lineup that he was going up against, the most experienced, and they made him pay. Jump wasn't nearly as sharp with his secondary pitches, and you could see the Dodgers lineup was feasting on those mistakes. But I think all in all, it was a tough showing. But for the young Jump, it's going to be a great learning tool. It took him getting to his 7th career start to have something to significantly to build upon. And the Dodgers were not doing him any favors. They were not missing anything that was being delivered over the heart of the plate. And you can see that with all the successes that Jump has had, you can see that he has come down to earth a little bit in this one. That just like anybody else, if you're not on top of your command, if you're not working to multiple quadrants of the plate, anyone, even on their best day, could be susceptible to some loud contact. I mean, look what we just witnessed in Philadelphia with Paul Skeens giving up 7 runs yesterday to the Phillies. So anyone can get got on their worst and best days and everywhere in between. So it's important for Jump to learn from this, not to get too down, but to get back to what made him so successful, working with his repertoire, but also working on the edges as compared to catching too much of the plate. The offense was decent early, but faded late. 2 for 11 in runners in scoring position. Colby Thomas with a Colby Jack in this one, a part of his 2-hit night. But what about a heck of a Major League debut from Joshua Kuroda-Grauer? He goes 3 for 4 in this one, a double and an RBI. Impressive stuff. We'll have a little bit more on him a little later on in this show. But with that, A's drop a tough one. The Dodgers were in full control, it felt like, for the majority of this game. After the A's went up 3-2 on Henry Bolte legging out the back end of that double play attempt, the Dodgers went on to score 7 unanswered runs. So game 2 would be a lot more of the same. Justin Robleski going for the Dodgers up against A's left-hander Jeffrey Springs. Tommy Edman homers. Dave Roberts, he earned his 1,000th managerial win in this one as the Dodgers would go on to beat the A's 9-3. Tommy Edman had 4 hits, including his first home run of the season, and Dave Roberts became the fastest manager in history to reach 1,000 career wins. Miguel Rojas on Tuesday night also homered to help the Dodgers to their 4th straight victory and 7th in 8 games. Edman had 4 RBIs while Mookie Betts added 3 hits. Edman, who missed the first 73 games of the season recovering from right ankle surgery, crushed the first pitch slider from A's starter Jeffrey Springs for a 3-run homer in the 3rd inning. Edman also had a hit in the 5th and added an RBI single in the 7th. Roberts became the 69th manager in history to reach 1,000 wins and the quickest to do it. Roberts achieved his milestone managerial victory in 1,606 games. Cap Anson, the next fastest, needed 1,641 games and won his 1,000th in 1893. He is the second manager to reach the milestone in the past 2 days after Detroit skipper A.J. Hinch won his 1,000th in a 7-3 Tigers win over the Yankees. Colby Thomas homered for the 2nd consecutive game for the A's in this one. Justin Robleski, he improved to 10-2 on the year, had a career-high 11 strikeouts in 7 innings and allowed 3 runs and 7 hits without a walk. Brock Stewart and Wyatt Mills retired 3 batters apiece. The Dodgers led 2-0 in the 1st inning on Betts' RBI single and Teoscar Hernandez's sacrifice fly. A's catcher Shea Langoliers reached on an infield single at the bottom of the inning and scored from first on Jonah Heim's single over the head of right fielder Kyle Tucker. After Edman's homer off Springs in the 3rd, Rojas connected for a solo shot in the 6th. Springs dropped to 3-8 in the year, allowing 6 runs and 8 hits in 5 1/3 innings. So another tough one. Dodgers were pretty much in control from start to finish in this one. Back-to-back nights, however, with a home run and another multi-hit night for Colby Thomas. So that is an encouraging sign there as he looks to ignite things. Another tough start from Jeffrey Springs. You're hoping he was coming around the bend there, but unfortunately he gets bitten again in this one from a very tough lineup. Offense gets shut down. They're 0 for 2 in runners in scoring position, so not a lot of opportunities there, but because they didn't really do much favors creating any sort of momentum. Only going 7 for 33 in this one. 1 walk against 15 strikeouts flat out. That's not going to get it done. With the loss, the Dodgers secured the series victory. And Game 3, the A's would need to come back to avoid the 3-game sweep and get off the snide. Langoliers in Game 3, he hits home run number 20, and the A's back JT Ginn's solid performance with 3 homers in a 7-1 victory over the Dodgers that ends up snapping a 4-game skid, which was the longest this season. Jonah Heim and Alika Williams also homered for the A's, along with Shea Langoliers hitting his 20th homer on Wednesday night. JT Ginn allowed 1 run and 3 hits in 6 innings to win for the 4th time in his last 5 starts. Ginn walked 5 and struck out 4. Freddie Freeman homered for the Major League leading Dodgers, 56-31 now, extending his on-base streak to 16 games. Los Angeles finished a 7-2 trip, one night after manager Dave Roberts became the fastest manager to reach 1,000 career wins. After lopsided losses in the first 2 games of the series, the A's took an early lead on Jonah Heim's leadoff homer in the second. Freeman tied it with his 14th home run in the third before the A's scored twice in the fourth and added 3 more in the fifth. Heim walked and scored on Lawrence Butler's ground out in the fourth. Henry Bolte followed with an RBI single. Langolier started the rally in the fifth with his home run off Charlie Barnes. Nick Kurtz followed with a single and scored on Colby Thomas's double. Heim added an RBI single to make it 6-1. Williams homered in the 8th off Barnes, who threw 94 pitches in relief. He gave up 7 runs and 12 hits over 7 innings after opener Jack Dreyer struck out all 3 batters in the first. So it was good to see the A's bounce back, avoid the sweep. We do understand that these 2 teams are in completely different places in terms of their development, but nevertheless, you don't get swept from at home. And it was good to see a nice collective offensive effort in this one, much better. They went 12 for 35 as a team in this one. 2 walks, 5 against 5 strikeouts. They hit 3 home runs and go 3 for 8 runners in scoring position. So with the win, they are now 41-46, recouping today on a much-needed off day between all of the injury bug that seems to be striking this team in every sense of the word, and have played such a long streak of consecutive games in a row. They get a well-deserved night off before kicking off the weekend, continuing their homestand tomorrow night in West Sacramento. Before we get to all that, let's hand out our 3-star performers. So for our A's, 3 stars. For our 3rd star, we're going to give it to JT Ginn. Seems to be becoming a regular every time his name is summoned to get the ball in a series. Again, he went 6 innings in this one, allowed 3 hits, 1 run, 5 walks, 4 Ks. Our 2nd star, he's going to be receiving his 1st star in as many attempts. Second baseman, well, he's an infielder, but was summoned to play second base throughout this 3-game set. Joshua Kuroda Grauer, he went 5 for 11 in this series, 2 doubles, an RBI, and 2 runs scored. Welcome to the show. Hope all of the success is long-term and sustainable. He's an exciting player. He's very savvy on the bases, very good with the glove. He does have all the tools. We'd love to see how long he can stick. Hopefully this is the start of great things to come. And for our 1st star, he had at least a hit in each of these 3 games against the Dodgers, but was the main power source for the green and gold. We're going to give it to Colby Thomas, his first star of the season, I believe. He went 5 for 10 in the series with 2 home runs, 4 RBIs, 3 runs scored, and a double. And that is a wrap on our Dodgers series recap and our 3 stars. Let's do a little bit of housekeeping with some unfortunate news to start. So let's talk about some guys headed to the injured list. What seemed like good fortune for the Athletics when they left spring training in Arizona free of any major injuries is starting to feel more like an ominous precursor to what they're now dealing with on the health front. The difficulty of this recent 6-game road trip went beyond the 2-4 record posted by the A's. They also lost 3 key players to the injured list during that stretch, starting with Zach Geloff with that right hand contusion earlier in the week, and continuing with Jacob Wilson, right thumb inflammation, and Tyler Soderstrom, left hip impingement, both of whom were replaced on the 10-day injured list prior to Monday's 9-4 loss to the Dodgers at Sutter Health Park. The A's pride themselves in having a deep lineup that does not rely on 1 or 2 big bats to get them going, but there's only so many hits an offense can take. In addition to Geloff, Wilson, and Soderstrom, there's also Rooker, who has been sidelined on the 10-day injured list since June 9th with a left knee bone bruise, who we'll have an update on in a few moments. We had a great spring training health-wise, manager Mark Kotsay said. We got out of there crystal clean. I'm not sure if that was a bad omen or what has led to the injuries, but it definitely has hit us at an inopportune time. We have to keep grinding. Guys are coming here to fill roles that maybe weren't anticipated to be here yet. One of those guys is Joshua Kuroda Grauer. Rated the A's number 9 prospect by MLB Pipeline, Kuroda Grauer was called up from AAA Las Vegas as a corresponding move. Though his first call to the majors is largely the product of losing Wilson, the 23-year-old infielder has nonetheless earned this chance. In 75 games between AA Midland and AAA Las Vegas, Kuroda Grauer is slashing a combined .323, .367 on base, and .478 slug with 34 extra base hits. His 109 hits lead all of minor league baseball. The Athletics announced a big batch of roster moves around the injury timelines. Shortstop Jacob Wilson and outfielder Tyler Soderstrom have both been placed on the 10-day injury list, as previously mentioned. Wilson's transaction is retroactive to June 26th, and due to right thumb inflammation, Soderstrom's is retroactive to June 28th, and due to a left hip impingement. Some other housekeeping. Additionally, left-hander Jose Suarez hits the paternity list. To replace those three, the A's have recalled righty Cade Morris and infielder Darryl Hernandez, and selected the contract of infielder Joshua Kuroda Grauer. To open a 40-man spot for Kuroda Grauer, righty Michael Kelly has been designated for assignment. So get well soon to Tyler Soderstrom and Wilson. That's now 9 main guys on the shelf in terms of the injured list, as the schedule does not let up, and they are having their roster depth tested night in and night out. But it's a good opportunity for these young guys to get a chance that perhaps they didn't think was going to be available, and someone like a Joshua Kuroda Grauer is running with it thus far. I mean, he's got 5 hits through his first 3 big league games, and he's doing it against the Los Angeles Dodgers. How about that vote of confidence to start your major league career? It's been impressive stuff, but it's just sad to see all of these guys go down, like a Soderstrom, like a Jacob Wilson. Jacob Wilson, this is his second set on the injured list. Same thing with Rook. And we're going to get to Rook here in a second. We've got some unfortunate news about him. But get well soon. Tyler Soderstrom, Jacob Wilson, all 9 guys on the injured list. We hope to see you back in the green and gold sooner rather than later. Just wanted to make sure you were all caught up to speed there. And there was one more little bit of news. Speaking of some injury news with Rook, we got a big update yesterday. A's designated hitter Brent Rooker will undergo surgery to repair cartilage damage in his left knee. He is set to miss the rest of the season. It concludes a frustrating year for the 2-time All-Star. Rooker was an Ironman last season, appearing in all 162 games, all but one as a starter. He rarely seemed completely healthy this season and will wind up playing in just 42 games. Rooker went down in mid-April with a right oblique strain. He came back fairly quickly, but didn't play at his usual level. The knee sent him back to the injured list a month ago, with the team initially calling it a bone contusion. Rooker's bat speed was intact, but his swing and miss rate climbed significantly. He had a particularly tough time adjusting to any kind of off-speed stuff and did almost all of his damage against fastballs. Whether because of the injuries or a timing issue, he was far below his capabilities. Rooker batted .200, a .281 on base, and .389 slug, with 10 home runs across 203 plate appearances. He'd been a well above average offensive player in the prior 3 seasons, one of only 8 hitters to hit at least 30 home runs every year from 2023 to 25. The A's have used backup catcher Jonah Heim as their main designated hitter since the injury. That's also an avenue for Shea Langoliers to stay in the lineup while getting a day off defensively with Heim behind the dish. They're also down Jay Willie, Tyler Soderstrom, and Zach Geloff at the moment, losing all 3 in quick succession over the last week. That placed a lot of emphasis on Langoliers and Nick Kurtz, each of whom have gone a bit cold over the past couple of weeks. There's little doubt those 2 sluggers will pick things back up. It'll need to happen quickly to stop a slide in the standings. The A's have dropped 4 straight. At that point, at the time of these injuries, they were at the time of Rooker's announced injury where the A's rebound. This was prior to their victory yesterday, and they've fallen to 5 games under 500. They're still just 3.5 games back in a wide open AL West, but are at 41 and 46 with the second worst run differential in the American League. Rooker is signed through 2029 with a club vesting option for the 30 season. He'll respectively earn $12 million, $13 million, $17 million over the final 3 years of the $60 million extension he signed 2 winters ago. The team hasn't provided many specifics on the operation, but there's no indication it'll impact his availability for the start of next season. So this is a tough blow. Obviously, for what he can produce on the field, you're missing a 30-homer rolling out of bed with these type of hitter. But you're missing your clubhouse leader, your perhaps unofficial captain, someone that sets the tone for this young group, for this young core. Everyone in that room respects what Brent Rooker brings to the table, and I think it was a significant blow, and I think you saw these guys go out there and rally behind him after that news. They came out there. I'm sure there was a lot of disappointment in that room, especially, I'm sure, from Rooker himself, but from everyone that was thinking that they were going to get Rooker back at some point this year. That wasn't in the cards, and now we set to miss the rest of the season. Hopefully that this will clean up the issues where it seems like it was a couple ailments connected to one another that I feel like was really detracting from the Brent Rooker that we had seen over the last 3 years, which this past year seemed like a struggle from the jump. Just didn't feel right. I felt like something was just a little bit off. And hopefully now we can chalk it up to just some poor health. And hopefully this all goes well and smoothly. And we're seeing Rooker in February and March of 2027 running around smoothly, aimlessly on that surgically repaired knee, ready to make a difference after, hopefully, a successful A's postseason bid and beyond. Time will tell there. But get well so soon, Brent Rooker. Definitely unfortunate. You will be sorely missed. But now this is going to open the door for opportunities for guys to step up and fill his shoes. You're going to see Jonah Heim get plenty of run. Possibly Carlos Cortez can work his way back in the mix. We'll see how it all shakes out. Now let's talk about a little bit more, or not a little bit, a lot more positive news, especially actually on the opposite side of the spectrum as we talk about another A's prospect graduating their minor league system and making their major league debut. So welcome to the show, Joshua Kuroda Grauer. He made an immediate impact, picking up an RBI single in his first MLB at-bat in the bottom of the second. Notching another single in the sixth and the double in the ninth, Kuroda Grauer became just the fourth A's player to record 3 hits in his major league debut since the club moved to California in 1968, joining Mark Canha, who did it back in 2015, Mike Rouse back in 2006, and Ben Grieve back in 1997. Not bad for a player who learned he was getting called up Monday morning, flew in from Salt Lake City, and arrived at the yard about 2 hours before first pitch. Kuroda Grauer also had his welcome to the big leagues moments by interacting with a couple of stars. After his first hit, he was greeted by first baseman Freddie Freeman, who gave him a congratulatory pat on the back. Later, while his double was under replay review, Kuroda Grauer was joined by Freeman and Mookie Betts for a conversation. Kuroda Grauer said, "It was surreal. You play with these guys in video games, and now you get to be on the field talking with them. Those are guys I've watched my whole life. Being on the field with them and hearing them congratulate me, great guys, it was really cool." Kuroda Grauer is also extremely versatile defensively. He started at second base this past Monday. Defensively, he's considered an above-average shortstop while also capable of playing second base and third base with some dabbling in the outfield as well. He doesn't have elite speed, but is smart on the base pass, allowing him to steal 27 bases last year and 15 already this year. He'll give the A's cover at a few different spots. As other guys get healthy, he has a full slate of options and can be easily sent back down to the minors in the future. With Kuroda Grauer debuting, the A's are now the first team in MLB to have 3 players from the 2024 MLB draft class reach the majors. All 3 were in Monday's starting lineup, with first-rounder Nick Kurtz at first base and competitive balance round B selection Gage Jump taking the mound as the A's starting pitcher. So again, congrats, Joshua Kuroda Grauer, getting that nervous time out of the way. When is that first hit going to come? He gets it done in his first at-bat, and he turns it into a 3-hit performance. He gets his first RBI. He gets his first double. Having a night of first, it was in a losing effort, but nevertheless, you could see the spark plug and catalyst that he can truly be. I think he gets the call up a little bit ahead of schedule, but hey, it all happens for a reason, and he has shown he at least deserves a shot to see if he deserves to belong, because it is off to a great start, going 5 for his first 11. He doesn't seem to have fear hitting with 2 strikes. He has the ability to put the ball in play. I don't think he's struck out yet this year thus far in those 3 games. So that's an impressive feat in its own right against Dodgers pitching, which is one of the best staffs across the league. So congrats to him. Keep it going, kid. And we're looking forward to seeing just how at one point it didn't seem like we'd see Kuroda Grauer till later or perhaps even next year. He gets an opportunity due to an abundance of injuries in the infield group. and he is cashing in a positive way, in abundance, in multiple aspects of the game early on thus far. All right, let's get to the transaction side of things. The A's and Red Sox, they landed a trade. Red Sox added to their infield depth earlier this week, announcing the acquisition of Brett Harris from the A's in exchange for minor league righty Ben Hansen. Harris, who had been designated for assignment with the A's, has been optioned to AAA Worcester for now. In order to clear a spot on the 40-man roster, Boston announced that veteran reliever Tommy Kahnle has been designated for assignment. Harris, 28, changes teams for the first time in his career. The Gonzaga product was a 7th-round selection by the A's in 2021. Harris doesn't have huge physical tools, but he's a capable defensive third baseman who has shown a patient approach in the minors. He got to the big leagues in 24 and has been up and down from AAA Las Vegas over the last couple of seasons. A right-handed batter, Harris hasn't done much of the plate at the big league level. He's a career 194, 307 on base, and 289 slugging hitter with 3 homers in 73 games. Harris has a much stronger 291, 385 on base, and 465 slug batting line in nearly 900 AAA plate appearances across 4 seasons. Although the power is inflated by his playing in the Pacific Coast League, Harris rarely expands the strike zone and makes a solid amount of contact. Harris is primarily a third baseman, but can play any non-shortstop infield position. He has committed 4 errors in roughly 500 Major League innings at the hot corner, grading as a slightly above-average defender by outs above average in defensive runs saved. He's in his final minor league option year. The Sox can shuttle him freely between Worcester and Boston for now, but if he lasts the entire offseason on the roster, he'll need to break camp with the team in 2027 or else be designated for assignment. The A's in this deal pick up a lottery ticket reliever in the low minors. Hansen, 24 years old, is a 6'6" righty whom the Sox selected in the 20th round in the 2024 draft. The BYU product has a .475 earned run average across 41 2/3 innings in a long relief role in high A. He has fanned 28% of opponents against an 8% walk rate while getting grounders at a near 50% clip. So, Brett Harris, best of luck in Boston. Seemed like whenever he was getting the call or knocking on the door, he was someone that was appreciated by the fan base. Someone, he's going to get gritty. He's going to grind it out with 2 strikes. He's going to put together team quality, team first at-bats. He's someone that personified team and the type of grit that you like in your locker room. So it was someone in Harris that it didn't seem like that it was going to stick at the major leagues offensively. Defensively, he's certainly a plus, a significant plus in my opinion, especially with his defensive third base. But it just didn't seem like he was able to put it together consistently offensively at the major league level. Nearly a 300 hitter in AAA, not even a 200 hitter at the major league level. That's a significant gap, and it seems like there is still work for him to try to narrow that gap, to be a little bit more of a productive offensive player, to be worth keeping around. But anyway, he was someone that seemed to be well revered by many in the clubhouse, and you never know how it all shakes out. Obviously, if there isn't a fit in Boston, he gets DFA'd. Perhaps there's a reunion waiting for him. That is the nature of baseball, the business. It's not perhaps goodbye, it's a see you later. But appreciate all Brett Harris brought to the organization over his time, where he's making a change for the first time. He'll be playing for a new organization since he got originally drafted by the A's all those years ago. So best of luck to Brett. And in return, not really sure what the A's are getting here. I think this was something where they're trying to clear some depth to address some other spots in the organization to enhance for areas of growth. But they get a long relief type reliever. He's only 24 years old. Good build at 6'6", but there are still a lot of questions to be answered. So we'll see if this A's development system works and they can churn out another young prospect in the next few years or so. This episode is brought to you by Visit Mesa. Welcome to Mesa, Arizona, a destination for every season. Experience a destination where adventure, culture, and culinary experiences are limitless. As the gateway to the stunning Sonoran Desert and Tonto National Forest, Mesa invites you to explore its scenic borderways, kayak through winding canyons, or paddleboard along the Salt River. For a one-of-a-kind desert adventure, ride the waves at Revel Surf at Cannon Beach, the country's first surf park of its kind. Downtown Mesa is a vibrant hub, home to the Mesa Art Center, public art, award-winning breweries, and local shops. Food lovers can explore the Fresh Foodie Trail and the diverse flavors of Mesa's Asian District. Sports fans can experience MLB spring training with the Athletics and Chicago Cubs, or visit one of North America's largest youth sports complexes. As the world's first autism-certified city, Mesa is dedicated to accessibility and inclusivity for all visitors. All right, before we get on out of here, we are going to head to the back half of our show and do our series preview that is set to begin tomorrow. After dropping 2 out of 3 to the Dodgers, the A's continue their homestand in West Sacramento after the off day today, welcoming in the Miami Marlins. They come in with a record of 46-41, led by manager Clayton McCullough. In their last series, they split in Colorado against the Rockies. They won 10-7 and 14-3 before losing the back half 6-3 and losing earlier today 14-4. Offensively, they rank as follows coming into today's play. They are batting .250 as a team, which is 7th in baseball. They've hit 79 home runs, which is tied for 25th. They've scored 386 runs, which is 16th. They've walked 288 times, which is 19th. They've struck out 712, which is 13th least, and they've hit to a 724 OPS, which is 14th. On the mound, they've pitched to a 3.95 ERA, which is 10th. They've walked 295 batters, which is 16th. They've struck out 732, which is 14th, and have pitched to a 1.24 whip, which is 9th. Defensively, they've fielded a 983 fielding percentage, which is 25th. They've made 53 errors, which is 23rd. Here is how the Marlins project with their most common starting lineup. They'll be led off at second base by Xavier Edwards. Batting second, the shortstop, Otto Lopez. Batting third, the first baseman, Kyle Stowers. Batting fourth, the left fielder, Heriberto Hernandez. Batting fifth, the right fielder, Owen Casey. Batting sixth, the center fielder, Jacob Marcy. Batting seventh, the designated hitter, Griffin Conine. Batting eighth, the third baseman, Javier Sanoja. And batting ninth, you'll see the combination of catchers, Joe Mack and Liam Hicks. Now here are the game times and starting pitching probables. So tomorrow night, 6:40 p.m. first pitch. The Marlins will be going with an opener, Tyler Phillips, a reliever, going up against Jack Perkins for the A's. On Saturday, also a 6:40 p.m. Pacific time first pitch. Sandy Alcantara will be getting the ball for the Marlins, going up against Aaron Savali. And then on Sunday, the rubber match of this 3-game set, a 1:30 p.m. Pacific time first pitch. Yuri Perez will be getting the ball, going up against Gage Jump. And let's get to know these Marlins starters a little bit. Kind of diving in more on the scouting side of things for this time around. His fastball, Phillips, on the years has averaged 96 miles an hour. Phillips has successfully transitioned into a stable opener as part of the rotation, posting a 3.02 ERA over 65 2/3 innings. Utilizing a high-angle sinker-sweeper mix, he generates high ground ball rates. That's where Phillips turned into quite a good high-volume reliever in 2025. He had a 2.78 ERA in 77 2/3 innings, over 54 appearances, which is how he found himself as the subject of a post-game interview in which he gave one-sentence answers about how much he hates hitters. Phillips throws hard. His sinker, his most used pitch, averaged 95.4 miles an hour last year, and the 5-pitch repertoire he carried over from the starting gave him the ability to show hitters different looks depending on which side of the plate they lined up on. He was almost all sinker sweeper against righties from a low arm slot, and sinker, four-seamer, splitter, curveball against lefties. Everything had kind of an off-kilter movement profile. Phillips' sinker sank, but so did his four-seamer, and both the sweeper and curveball were closer to a vertical than average. The result? A 97th percentile chase rate and gobs of ground balls in weak contact. But even with all that velocity and deception, Phillips couldn't strike many batters out. His strikeout rate, 16.6%, was 177th out of 199 pitchers with at least 70 innings pitched. The two guys behind him on that leaderboard were Cal Quantrill and Kyle Hendricks. This year, Phillips has raised his arm angle a couple degrees, giving all of his pitches a more normal movement profile. That spread the movement on 5 pitches over a wider area. He's also using his splitter more, 23% of the time this year, up from 14% last year. Phillips' ground ball rate is close to the average, and he's giving up more hard contact when batters get wood to arm side, but that's happening less than ever. Through 6 appearances, he has a 96th percentile whiff rate and an 80th percentile strikeout rate. Fortunately for us, the Marlins are still using Phillips in a weird way. Last year, he started as a low leverage and mop-up guy and gradually worked his way into more significant appearances. From July 1st through the end of 2025, Phillips allowed just 5 runs in 37 1/3 innings and got more than 6 outs just 3 times in 25 innings. This year, he's set to make his first single-inning appearance. He's yet to make his first single-inning appearance. His one save was a 3-inning stint to close out an 8-1 win over the Reds on April 9th. Through the weekend, Phillips was tied for 7th among relievers with 5 or more appearances and batters faced per game at a hair under 9. He's averaging 35.5 pitches per appearance, which is 6th in the league. As for Game 2 starter, this is where we get more traditional for Game 2 and 3. Sandy Alcantara, right-handed pitcher. His fastball has averaged 97.4 miles an hour in the air thus far, which ranks in the 91st percentile. He enters this month showing an encouraging return to physical form, but operating with volatile up and down results as he fully separates himself from his October 2023 Tommy John surgery. Fronting the Miami Marlins rotation during their scorching 20-6 June surge, his overall profile highlights a workhorse pitching to contact whose underlying indicators are noticeably stronger than his raw season ERA. After a turbulent 2025 where he lowered his arm angle to protect his elbow, his traditional over-the-top pre-surgery arm slot is fully back. His fastball velocity has returned to its elite upper 90s baseline. Built around his physical, lanky frame, his primary fastball mix heavily relies on a heavy two-seam sinker designed to induce ground balls and early contact. His changeup and slider remain key weapons for putting hitters away, enabling him to clear major career milestones like crossing 1,000 career strikeouts in the middle of last month. He has posted volume, leading the month in starts with 18 and trailing close to league leads in innings pitched. He frequently pitches deep into the 7th and 8th innings to protect the bullpen. Alcantara maintains a premier attack-first mindset. When he establishes his strike zone early, he commands games seamlessly, as demonstrated by a complete game shutout earlier in the campaign. While May was disastrous with a 7.39 ERA, he rebounded with a highly efficient 3.35 ERA and a 1.19 WHIP in June, leading into structural adjustments and better command. As for some weaknesses and risks, it's his volatile consistency. He is highly susceptible to blow-up starts, tracking 4 games this year where he surrendered 6 or more earned runs. While his general walk rate is stabilized, he still battles high walk outings, most recently walking 5 batters over 5 2/3 at Coors Field. He has given up 12 home runs and is much more vulnerable to damage on hung secondary pitches than during his 2022 Cy Young campaign. And as for the Game 3 starter, the A's will be going up against right-handed pitcher Yuri Perez. His fastball has been sizzling, 98.1 miles an hour average on the year thus far, ranking in the 94th percentile. Yuri Perez is currently healthy and active in the starting rotation, having recently returned ahead of schedule from a right thigh strain. The 23-year-old right-hander has fully moved on from his recovery from Tommy John, displaying the elite velocity and swing and miss traits that made him a top prospect. He has exceptional body control and extension for his towering frame, allowing him to repeat his delivery and fill the strike zone. His four-seam fastball sits consistently in the mid-90s and easily reaches 98 to 99.6 miles an hour. The pitch features elite extension, creating a flat, deceptive approach angle that generates high quadrant whiffs. His slider is a hard-biting breaker that serves as his primary put-away weapon against right-handed hitters, yielding high chase rates out of the zone. His changeup is a fading all-speed pitch, optimized to neutralize left-handed hitters, forcing heavy swing and miss when buried low. His curveball is a secondary high-spin breaking ball used effectively to steal early strikes and alter hitting timing. Perez has given up exactly 1 run in each of his last 3 appearances, perhaps signaling a major second-half surge. While his command can still waver as he refines his mechanics post-injury, his underlying stuff remains elite. Now let's take a look at how these A's hitters have fared against the Marlins starting pitchers they are projected to go up against. So against the reliever Tyler Phillips, Shea Langoliers is 1-for-4 lifetime with a double. Against Sandy Alcantara, lifetime Jeff McNeil for all those years He faced off against Alcantara with the Mets. McNeil his lifetime is 12 for 40 with a home run and 2 doubles. Joey Meneses 2 for 9 with a home run. Shane Langoliers 1 for 3. And against Yuri Perez, Shane Langoliers 1 for 2 with a double. And Joey Meneses 1 for 5. Let's take a look at how these two teams fared head-to-head in 2025. Just like this year, they met one time last year, but last year it was down in Miami. May 2nd to 4th, it would be the A's taking 2 out of 3. They won Game 1 6-1. The Marlins took Game 2 9-6 before the A's came back and took the rubber match of that 3-game set 3-2. Some Marlins players to keep an eye on are shortstop Otto Lopez. He's having a great all-star type year. He's hitting .332 on the year with 7 home runs, 37 RBIs, and an .848 OPS. Catcher Liam Hicks, he's hitting .283 with 13 home runs, 53 RBIs, and an .829 OPS. And then second baseman Xavier Edwards hitting .303, 6 homers, 30 RBIs, and an .813 OPS. Now, it's prediction time, as we are going to pick, and we always like to try to spread the love and spread the wealth, but when guys are going down to the injured list left and right, it really limits your list as it goes. But for this series, we are going to select Nick Kurtz to homer at least once this weekend against the Marlins. We do feel with him facing at least all 3 guys are starting right-handed pitchers. I think that's going to fare well for the lefty Kurtz that's looking to come out of his mini little slide. And then as for our series prediction, we do believe that the A's are catching the Marlins at the wrong time. We do believe that the Marlins are going to take 2 out of 3 in this one. We do believe the A's are going to win tomorrow night 7-4, but then we feel the Marlins will settle in and get to work, that they are going to win Game 2 6-3, and then the Sunday rubber match 7-2. Hopefully we're wrong, but it's always tough to catch a team that's won 20 or 27 games while you're the A's, a team in Sutter Health Park that have struggled in your own ballpark, but also are catching a team when it seems like plenty is going right. And if you're the A's, you're trying to piece it together when your roster depth is truly getting tested. So tune into all of the exciting action starting tomorrow night, 6:40 p.m. Pacific time, first pitch. The Marlins are going with an opener in Tyler Phillips. As for the A's, they'll be sending forth Jack Perkins, looking to start a good streak, continue on a good streak for the Green and Gold. Hope you enjoyed. This is going to be an intriguing matchup, some good pitching. So we'll see how it all shakes out. Before we get on out of here, we have an exciting announcement. A's Day is headed to Salt Lake City, Utah for a 3-night adventure. That's right. We are going to be able to head on down there thanks to our hosted stay at the Hilton Salt Lake City Center. Want to shout out Curtis for being at the forefront and being so hospitable, opening their doors to one of their finest rooms on property. Can't wait to experience all of that starting later this evening. And want to shout out Visit Salt Lake. They were able to schedule and put together and book our travel to and from Salt Lake City. Want to shout out Ryan, Jenna, and Clay for coordinating our round trip airfare and places to discover around Salt Lake City, but also getting us connected with the Salt Lake Bees, the AAA affiliate of the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. That's right. Tomorrow night we will be at the ballpark in South Jordan, taking in the Las Vegas Aviators against the Salt Lake Bees, and we have on-field credentials, so we are going to be able to garner interviews from both teams. We are expected to post that all throughout next week. We're going to talk about it on our Monday show, but also be sure to follow along on our social media, especially on Instagram. We're going to be posting our experience as it's happening, as we're experiencing it. So if you want to experience it in that fashion, be sure to check us out on our Instagram at A's Day Baseball Podcast, on X, formerly known as Twitter, at A's Day Baseball, and check out our YouTube channel for player interviews that we have posted and are continue to be posted, as well as our, normal video episodes. But today, since we're out and about due to the combination of work And we're actually flying out to Salt Lake City later tonight, so I didn't have the opportunity to set up at home studio, but we'll be back behind the mic for Monday's show as regularly scheduled. But wanted to make sure that you are aware that we are going to be sending Salt Lake City content your way, and hope you enjoy all of it, because it's a joy for us. We love to travel. We're passionate about the game of baseball. We're passionate about travel. And we hope you enjoy it for your entertaining viewing pleasure. So we also will have a complimentary hosted dinner at Cafe Molise. Want to shout their team out. Get to enjoy the delicacies of Italia from the Molise region. That should be a wonderful experience following the Aviators Bees game tomorrow night. And then, of course, we're going to stop by the Great Salt Lake, enjoy some 4th of July celebrations, and take out all of the other local wonders that Salt Lake has to offer. So I wanted to make sure that was on your radar, and we're excited to be there in a mere few hours. We should be landing around midnight, and then we'll be immersing ourselves into the Salt Lake experience fully starting tomorrow morning. So be sure to check out our platforms, enjoy all of our content, because we do it for you, the lovely audience. And with that brings us to the close of another edition of A's Day. We appreciate you all stopping by. We will be back, for Tuesday's show. I know I misspoke and said Monday, but we'll be back behind the mic and again the camera. For Tuesday's show, we're going to talk about our Salt Lake City experience, our experience with the Aviators, as well as how they fared against the Bees. We'll do our Marlins series recap, and then do our Tigers series preview, which is set to begin Tuesday night, and other A's news between today and Tuesday's show. That's all I have for you today. Once again, I'm your host, Joe Grado. Thank you for all of your support. Thank you for stopping by and supporting the Green and Gold, because it's an absolute joy for me to be able to share all their happenings. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful 4th of July weekend. Hope you enjoy all the festivities. However you choose to celebrate, be safe, be merry, and enjoy it all, and make some new memories. We'll be sure to do so from Salt Lake City. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful time. We'll see you back behind the mic and the camera, as this episode was audio only, but we'll have it all up and running once we're back in home studio for Tuesday's show. Take care, everyone. Until next time, Holy Toledo. Let's go A's.